Welcome back to the Talk Healing to Me podcast, where we keep it real, relatable, and as always, focus on moving forward with compassion. Today's solo episode is inspired by my incredible recent conversation with the one and only Ciara Conlon, productivity, leadership, and habit coach, and award-winning best-selling author. So we're going to unpack some of the most powerful takeaways from that episode and layer in some of my own thoughts from the MS to Success programs and the programs that we run around the world. So if you've ever felt overwhelmed or scattered or like you're always doing but never done, this one's for you. So today I'm sharing the practical, actionable tools that you can use today to feel like you're actually in control of your time and your energy and your progress. So grab a cup of tea or water, hop in your earbuds, and let's get into it. The Talk Healing to Me podcast is for informational and educational purposes only and does not constitute medical or professional advice. The views expressed by guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect those of the host or the production team. Always consult your physician or a qualified healthcare provider regarding any questions you have about a medical condition or health objectives. Listening to this podcast does not create a doctor-patient or coach-client relationship. Let's start with one of the biggest misconceptions that Ciara cleared up straight away. So the idea that productivity is a time management issue. I have to say that's automatically my thinking when I think about productivity. I don't have enough time. So how many of us are guilty of thinking if I just had better systems or be on top of everything, life would be so much better. So cue the sound of a million productivity apps being downloaded. But as Ciara reminded us, productivity is not just about time. It's about the emotional regulation. And yes, emotional regulation, which was an interesting take. And I hadn't heard it explained that way before. So I will be honest, that hit me right in between the eyes. If our inner world is in chaos, no system or app or planner is going to fix it. And that's why in the work that I do as well, we talk so much about self-compassion and self-forgiveness. It's one of the first parts of our work. And why? Well, if you're drowning in, I'm not doing enough or I'm behind, guess what? You're paralyzed. You're stuck to the ground, really. So here's my first insight for you. Ask yourself, what is the story I'm telling myself right now about being behind? So if you're constantly saying, I just need to get through the week, which was the thing that I mentioned to Ciara, and I'll be honest, that thought comes up a lot. And it's usually around Tuesday or Wednesday when I think I'm maybe a day ahead and then I realize, oh, I'm not. Oh, look, if I can just get through the next couple of days, then I'm at Friday. Well, it is worth challenging that thought, like Ciara challenged me, which is brilliant. So what if we changed it to, I'm creating moments of progress this week? It's subtle, but it's powerful. And like, what has gone really well? Like, what's one thing today that I'm really happy with? Because sometimes I find myself saying these things to my kids or my clients, and then I'm like, are you actually doing that yourself? Because it is hard to remember these things. There is one thing that I'll talk about a little bit further. There is one little hack that I find. Now, again, I know we spoke about not having loads of apps, but there is a little reminder, one that I use for myself that I'll share with you a little bit later on. So next up is something that I loved, the mind download. So this simple practice is a non-negotiable for me. Every Friday at 4 p.m. I do it. And the reason that I do it on a Friday, and this is something that a very great friend and mentor of mine, Jerry Duffy, spoke about. So he spoke about planning your following week on a Friday. And so the way he explained it is that if you do it on a Friday, then you're going into your weekend knowing that I've already thought about next week. I've already planned next week. And so it means that you can spend your weekend actually being freed up, and that you're also, and this is the most important part for me, because in the past I've woken up on Monday mornings thinking, oh God, here's another week. And you might not feel prepared going into it. And all of a sudden it's halfway through the week before you really get that momentum. So when you plan it on a Friday, you're then waking up Monday and you know exactly what needs to be done. Your time is planned out and there's no second guessing yourself, because you might be tired. There might be school runs. There might be lots of other things. So when you take those few minutes on a Friday, you can review the week that's gone past, which Ciara suggests doing, and taking those few minutes out to do it, and then planning your week going ahead. It is a game changer for mental and emotional health, but even just for the self-trust and confidence going into the next week as well. So that mind download can be used in a couple of ways. There's the doing it on a Friday and bringing that in as a habit, but also during the day. Ciara mentioned that if you do find yourself getting lost throughout the day, that reset button, actually stopping and going, okay, what is going around in my mind at the moment? Stopping, writing down that list or getting it out of your head like the mind download and choosing one thing. What is the one thing that's going to move me forward, that's going to have the bigger impact on everything else around me? And sometimes for me, I'll give an example of one of the things this week. One of the things that was going around and around in my head was my shopping list, because I was thinking, okay, I'm not going to get to do shopping at the weekend because I've got plans. When am I going to get to do it? Because if I don't do the shopping now, then it's going to be a disaster for the week afterwards. Then I'm going to end up getting takeaway. And again, I know I'm rambling, right? But this is the rhetoric or the narrative that's going on inside my head. So what did I do? I wrote down the list of shopping, planned the meals, and I sent it off to my daughter and asked her, and I gave her a few quid. She's in college and not earning a lot of money right now. So will you please do the shopping? Here's the list, and pass it off to someone else. So my own tip on that is, when we do our mind download on a Friday with our clients, we actually call it a brain dump. But when you do that, one of the other steps that we do is write the list of everything that's there. And then we do a delegation list. Out of all of those things that are there, who can I delegate those things to? Another one that came up for me, my car is like a skip on wheels at the moment. There's a bag of teddies in there that I need to bring to charity that has been there, I'd say, for about 2 months. There's bottles that need to go to the bottle bank. And I really want to get the car cleaned. So my thing was, okay, how can I do this? So what I put down is, I'm going to delegate that to someone else. So when the next time I'm doing a food shop, or when my daughter's doing the food shop, she can either bring it and I can get it valet, because me getting that done is going to give me my time back to do it. Now, I'm not saying that you do that all the time, but sometimes actually delegating those tasks and getting someone else to do it for you, whether it's your kid or partner, whoever it might be, don't be afraid to delegate it.
This episode of Talk Healing to Me is sponsored by Clean Boss, the world's most powerful botanical disinfectant and cleaner, created by the one and only Joy Mangano, the legendary inventor behind the Miracle Mop and the woman whose story inspired the movie Joy. And let me just say this, her story saved me. Years ago, at one of my lowest points, sick, uncertain, and starting over, I kept watching that movie on repeat. It reminded me that resilience is real, that you can rise, that there has to be a better way. And that phrase, there has to be a better way, became a guiding light for me. And it's why Clean Boss feels so aligned. Because let's be honest, most so-called green cleaners, they don't kill germs. And the ones that do are loaded with toxins, with fumes and warning labels. But Clean Boss is different. Formulated by Joy herself and powered by nature with a little help from Pitbull. Yes, that Pitbull. Clean Boss is a botanically based disinfectant that kills 99.9% of viruses, germs, and bacteria. And it's safe enough to use on your kitchen counters, your baby's high chair, or literally anywhere in your home. No rinsing required. No scary ingredients. It's powerful, safe, and a perfect example of what this podcast is all about. Smart, everyday decisions that add up to real healing over time. So if you've ever found yourself thinking, there has to be a better way, this is it. Check it out at getcleanboss.com/Karen. Because healing starts with the small things, and Clean Boss makes those things count.
One of the biggest flexes that my clients learn is to ask for support. Now, I'm going to talk about this a little bit more before we move on to our next point. A lot of times, and I'll hold my hand up, we can be dealing with, well, I don't want to ask for support because it might then look like I'm not coping very well, or I'm not getting it all done, or people might, judge me or think I'm not capable. And there's all sorts of flavors of beating ourselves up inside of that. Okay, so you can pick your favorite flavor of that one there. However, when we are not asking for help, we're then piling stuff on top of us that then increases our stress. It brings down the time we have available to actually do stuff, but it also robs the opportunity from other people to support you. And I'm going to share a story from one of my clients. And this is from a few years back. we'll call her M. M was looking after an elderly mum who wasn't well and had advanced dementia. And M was dealing with her own health issues, but also like running everything, trying to work on herself and her health, and trying to then look after an elderly parent who needed 24/7 care. Now, it was M's mum's birthday coming up, and Em had a lot of stuff to do because everyone was coming over to her home and she had loads of things to get done, but she was feeling super stressed. So what we did on one of our calls was write down a list of all of the things, everything from birthday cake to plates, to glasses, to drinks, to the food that she wanted. And then, I still feel the discomfort in my body when I think about it, because I said to her, okay, name all of the people who have ever said to you, let me know if there's anything I can do, or if I can help you at all, just let me know. So she wrote down all of those names, and then we paired every single one of them up with a task. She sent out the texts to people saying, okay, will you bring one dish of whatever? Will you bring some glasses for wine or whatever else it might be? Yes, wine. We're all normal. We do still have alcohol every now and again. We're not perfect. Would you, I don't know, whatever it might be. Will you bring something for the kids to eat? Whatever. Everything was taken care of, even down to side plates, cutlery, napkins. And what Em said afterwards was she has never felt so free and supported, and everybody else felt like they were contributing to her and they were being really helpful. So everyone came feeling really good, because I don't know if you've ever had or hosted an event, whether you're having friends or family or someone else over for dinner, and they say, oh, let me know what I can bring. And you're like, no, just bring yourself. And then in the background, you are like a maniac trying to do everything, whether it's hoovering, cleaning, whatever it might be. And then they bring something anyway, whether it's flowers or a dessert or whatever it might be. What would it be like if you said, I'd really like if you could bring a starter, or I'd really like if you could bring plates, or if you could bring a bottle of red or a bottle of wine, whatever it might be after you've written that list down. How good do you think that person might feel knowing that they're doing something that you genuinely require help with? And then how good are you going to feel knowing that they're taken care of? Em said that she had the best day, that she ended up being out in the back garden with her cousins playing, because she knew everything was taken care of. They all had a great day. And it was this like feeling of community and contribution. So I invite you, as you're doing those lists, as you are thinking that you have to be the one that does everything, give that up. Give up the need to be perfect and let people actually help. It doesn't mean any less of you. And I promise you're going to have an easier time. It might be really uncomfortable as you're saying it. And you can even say that, hey, I actually feel really uncomfortable asking because I prefer to do these things by myself. But you know what? I'm going to get out of my own way, and I'm going to say, you know what? If you can bring the vegetables, that would be amazing. It'll just save me having to slave over making roast potatoes or whatever it might be. So get it out of your head, onto paper, see who you can delegate to. Your brain is that solving machine, and free up all of that lovely space while you're trying to hold everything in your head and then do everything yourself. You are actually clogging up that mental capacity. So once you've done that, I promise you, you are going to feel like a weight is off your shoulder, and the domino effect is a game changer. Saying no. So this one's hard, right? I'll admit I've got a PhD in people pleasing, and I'm definitely millions of % better than I was in the past. But it is a tough one to break. So Ciara's advice was gold. When you're saying yes, you're automatically saying no to something else. So the question becomes, what am I sacrificing if I'm saying yes to this? And here's a script I've started using, and I'm inviting you to try it too. So thanks so much for thinking of me, but that doesn't work for me right now. So it's simple. There's no excuses. There's no sorry. There's no long explanation, because as Ciara reminded us, you're allowed to say no without guilt. So try that on and let us know how you get on.
Ready to turn inspiration into transformation? Join the Inner Circle Book Club, where we explore life-changing books that spark energy, confidence, and joy. Each month we read, reflect, and challenge ourselves with exclusive coaching, powerful insights, and engaging discussions. It's more than just reading, it's about real change. Join us with the link in the show notes and get ready to start your next chapter today. I look forward to seeing you on the other side. Let's grow together.
Let's talk about one of my favorite moments in the entire conversation, and resetting your day. So we've all had things and days where nothing's going to plan, right? Ciara's advice: stand up, move, put on a song and dance like a lunatic. And it might be to that Muppet song, which I loved, so it sounds silly. But let me tell you, it is magic. Movement interrupts our pattern of negative thinking. So when I'm having a rough day, I'll put a song on from my Move It playlist. And the one that I like to put on the most is, oh God, I definitely don't want to sing it for you. I will come back at the end and think of it. It starts with, oh God, no, I'm not going to sing it for you, but I'll link it in the show notes if I don't come back to it. But I do dance around like an absolute lunatic to it. So it's not a bad day anymore because you're changing your physiology and you're getting the energy and your endocrine system moving again. So I'm just a woman dancing like a lunatic in my kitchen. And that's a much better story rather than I can't do it anymore, or this is too much, or my day's gone to pot. Let's get the final takeaway from Ciara's episode, the core habit. So this is next level powerful, and it's about picking one thing, not 20, not 5, just one habit that's going to have the biggest impact on your life. So this is something that we focus on in MS to Success as well. So here's the kicker. You're not allowed to try this habit. You have to decide you're doing it. So I've seen clients get stuck on this and they'll say, I'm going to try do my, let's say, stretches every day. Nope. You're going to do them. You're not going to try and do them and kind of half-arse doing them, because otherwise you're putting one foot in the I will, but you're also giving yourself an excuse to kind of have one foot out and give yourself a way out. And it sounds a little bit harsh, but I promise you this is where you get your freedom. So you're going to pick one thing. You're going to pick one specific time, like after breakfast. And Ciara talks about this in her habit method. So you'll stick onto it and you can stack those habits is the phrase that she has with it. So pick one thing that you already do. So it might be eating breakfast. Okay, so before breakfast or after bed or whatever it might be, you stack it on to that already, that you're already doing. And that is your core habit. So for me, one of my core habits is my Friday wind-up call. So every Friday, I take 15 minutes after my Friday wind-up call with my clients to review the week, review the wins, review the fails, and the one thing that I'm taking forward. So I'm inviting you to start this as your core habit too. And maybe if you'd like to join us for some of our Friday wind-up calls, you're welcome to do that too. Come find us on social media and we will add you into that community. So on Friday, even if you don't do that, I want you to think about what went well. What did you learn? What's the win that you're celebrating? I promise you, it will make a massive difference to your trust, yourself, and your confidence. All right, friends, that is it for today's mini episode. I hope that you found these takeaways as valuable as I have. And if you want to listen to that full conversation with Ciara, it is the episode right before this. You do not want to miss it if you haven't listened to it already. And as always, if you found this episode helpful, please share it with a friend. Hit subscribe and DM me on social media. I'd love to hear what's working for you. And until next time, keep showing up for yourself with compassion and courage. This is Talk Healing to Me, and I will see you soon. Bye for now.
Thank you to our sponsors of this episode. You can visit getcleanboss.com/Karen. And also a thank you to our video and podcast producer and editor, Aoife McNamara at Imagine Media. Thank you.